Okay, in this video, we're going to go over how to multiply a monomial by a polynomial. Now, monomial is a one-term polynomial, and a polynomial could be any number of terms. And as you see in this example, grab a pen and tool, you have 2x to the fourth power, 2 times x to the fourth power. And it's being multiplied by this trinomial. Negative 7x to the third. You can change this to adding the opposite and look at that as a negative 8x. And same with the last term, a negative 7x squared. So to do that multiplication, you're going to use the distributive property. And to multiply 2 times x to the fourth times negative 7x to the third, you multiply the numbers together, which would be negative 14. And x to the fourth times x to the third, the bases are the same, so you add the exponents. Put my plus sign, because change all the subtractions to additions, and all these other two terms are negatives. So I have 2x to the fourth times negative 8x. 2 times negative 8, negative 16. And x to the fourth times the x is x to the fifth. And then finally, 2x to the fourth distributed to negative 7x squared. I get negative 14. X to the fourth, x to the second. Multiplying, add the exponents. Now I'm going to type that in. Just a reminder that I could, since this is adding negative, just make that a subtraction of 16x to the fifth. That's probably what I'll do. I'll just convert these both back to subtractions. Okay, so I'm going to pause it, type it in, see how we do. So I typed it in, just got to double check before I hit that green check mark. I have negative 14x to the seventh, and I have minus 16x to the fifth, which, like I said before, is the same as adding the opposite of 16x to the fifth. So that looks good, and then minus 14x to the sixth. Are there any like terms? The answer is no. So I can, well, another thing you can do is you can actually switch the order around so that the powers are descending. So I'll show you what that is. I'm going to pause the video. I'll show you what I mean by that. I'm just going to take the last two terms in that expression, switch them around. But since they're subtraction, I've just got to be careful. Go back to the addition, move them around, and I'll show you what that looks like. So it's not to confuse you. So what I did was, I took the x to the sixth power term and I moved that in front of the x to the fifth power term by using the commutative property when they were both addition. And I transferred those over here. So hopefully when I hit that green check mark, we'll get those smileys. Let's take a look. It worked. And notice we got hearts come raining down because I'm doing this video on Valentine's Day weekend. So let's take a look at the next example. We're going to simplify this expression here, which we're multiplying monomial times a binomial. So negative 4x to the fourth times negative 1 makes that a positive 4x to the fourth. And then when I multiply times negative 5x, negative 5, negative 4 is positive 20. X to the fourth times x is x to the fifth. They're not like terms, I can't add them. But I'm going to write this term first, and then this term second because of the powers. I'm going to put them in descending powers. All right, let's take a look. Hey, if I get a red dot, anytime I get a red dot, I just go back and look at possible mistakes, which could be exponents. It could be how I multiply. Did I mess up the negatives? So here we go. Oh, nice. Let's do one more for the video. So let's take a look at negative 3 times 7x squared is negative 21x to the third. Negative 3x times negative 7, 21x. I'll type that in just the way it is. It's already written in descending powers. And moment of truth. Okay. Oh, let's take a look. We should take a look at this last one here. Looks a little different. It says choose the value of y. Choose the value of y that will make the following statement true. So I got to figure out what y is to get this answer over here. So I'd have to distribute times this. And I got x to the 4th times x is x to the 5th, which is this last term in the answer. So what number times -6 would give me a +6? I'm thinking it would be a -1. So right away, I think it's going to be the -1. So if that y is a -1, so if that y is a -1 and I distribute it times 6 here, it gives me a -6, x to the 4th, x to the 3rd is x to the 2nd, or x to the 7th, excuse me, x to the 4th times x to the 3rd, x to the 7th, which would give me this term, that checks. Then -1 times the coefficient of x squared is 1, -1 there, yep. And x to the 4th times x squared, that would be correct. So I'm pretty sure my answer is going to be this one here. Y has to be the -1. Oops, let me hit the check mark. I changed it to a pen, so I need to change it back to my cursor. And it worked. So I'm not sure why I didn't get my smileys or my heart's running down there, raining down. So that's how you do those problems. Do your best.